Good afternoon, everybody.
Full house.
Almost.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, John.
Afternoon.
Simon.
Hello.
Ian. Yeah.
How's everybody's summer hibernation going from the football world?
Withdrawal symptoms.
Much needed. Much needed.
I was going to say, don't all answer at once. Anyway, welcome to RVTV. Thought we'd do a show as we've done a few signings, and there seems to be quite a lot of rumours, as there always is. Welcome, John. Welcome, Simon. Welcome, Ian, all the way from sunny Spain. And welcome, Kev, all the way from rainy Ireland.
Rainy Ireland, yeah.
Okay, let's get cracking. If you're watching, guys, subscribe, like, hit the bell thingy. I'm sure we'll do some more shows during the summer, depending on what happens. And pre-season kicks off, next Wednesday against West Ham?
Mm-hmm. Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday? Okay. That's midday game or something, isn't it?
About midday, I think.
Yeah, I think I'll have to go somewhere on some urgent business in the office and watch that. Right.
Yeah.
It's the silly season. So should we talk about the people who've come in already?
Yeah.
So first of all, the one who's already been here for a while, didn't have the greatest season last year, but still have high hopes for him. What do we make about that? There was a whole story that apparently we were playing hardball and got a quite a large reduction on the price. Does anyone know anything about that?
No, but it wouldn't surprise me. You know who our chairman is, right?
It sounds like Levy Ball, yeah.
Oh, looks like Ian's gone. He's one of the only ones who still, I think, gives Mr. Levy a chance. That's why I always like to have him on, because he puts across a different opinion. But what are your thoughts about signing Kulu permanently?
Well, it seems to be the theme, doesn't it, since Angelos has come in, of optimism. I'm guessing the theme is you're optimistic that he can return back to what he was like when we first got him. I know we've said on here before, and lots of other fans are saying that he's been sussed out by other teams, what he does and the reason that he's good. But, we've seen players before reinvent themselves, haven't we? And come back in. And,
Oh, yeah, I didn't want to sound like a broken record and say that yet again. He's been found out. But what are your thoughts, John?
I like him. I like him. I think he's really good. I think the fan base had been a bit harsh on him. He got an injury, didn't he, before the World Cup, and he came back and he found it hard to get going again after the World Cup. But you got to take into context that Conte signed him, didn't he? And then Conte had left, and so maybe he had a bit of strop on about that. He's quite a fiery character, and he being a fiery redhead. So maybe he had and Swedish as well. Yeah. Swedish are quite headstrong, aren't they? So
yeah, exactly. But I think he's a Swede from Serbia, so that never mixes well.
So I think he was quite perturbed that Conte had gone. But I think the first half of the season, I thought he was brilliant. That front three on paper was electric, wasn't it? Came, but he went off the boil a bit. Then he had a few muscle injuries, and as we've seen with Sessegnon, once you've had a muscle injury, you're a bit loath to run at full pelt, aren't you, and sort of put it in case your muscles go again. So you're a bit hesitant when you first come back after a muscle injury. So hopefully with a good pre-season behind him, he'll come back to that form that he showed at the beginning of probably the first half of last season. Yeah, but he's still got that quality. He's still got that quality on his left foot, and he can beat him out at will. It's beautiful to watch, wasn't it? It just showed him the ball, and he'd pass him, wasn't he? It's good to watch him go.
To me, he's a proper Spurs footballer, isn't he? When he's on his game, absolutely. He's just, he's not as fast and not as quick as Ginola, but some of his movements reminds me a little bit of him. But what about you, Kev? What do you reckon?
Well, I think he might be a bit more secure in his own status with Spurs now, because with Conte buggering off, he thought, well, I'm one of their Conte lads, and he now realises I'm fully signed up to the team and everything they do, and it might improve him.
Yeah, now he's Postecoglou lad, isn't he? So
Yeah.
you know, which
He's
is
a-
nice.
He's got job
He's a
security for the next 4 or 5
Postecoglou.
years or whatever he's doing, I don't know.
It's a Postecoglou. I like that. I think your camera's frozen, John. Oh no, there we go. It's back again. Okay, so what are we giving that a thumbs up then? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, nice one. Now this one came a little bit out of left field. I have to say I'd never heard of the guy, but Vicario. And welcome back, Ian.
Yeah, I had this problem with my connection in Spain. Let's hope it works better. I've put it onto the iPad rather than the laptop that seems to give me some problems. Let's hope if it goes again, I'll just say goodbye and we'll do it.
Sayonara, or where it is over there.
Yeah, let's hope that works.
Adios.
Yeah.
That's Japan, isn't it, Kev?
Sayonara. Bloody hell, Kev, you're a little bit out there, mate. Okay, so we've just finished talking about Kulu, Ian.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the permanent signing of him?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were pretty well committed to it. I worry a little bit about him. I worry he's a touch one-dimensional. That coming inside and onto his left foot, he doesn't have phenomenal pace, but he has a lot of ability. I thought after his injury, he clearly didn't look as good a player as he did before it. I guess we were pretty well committed to it. I think he'll be good under Ange because he'll get the ball much earlier than he was doing under Conte, and I think that will give him an opportunity to run at defenders, and he'll find himself with a lot more space because of that than he did under Conte. The other thing is I actually think Porro would be superb in that role, much better. A lot of people are talking about him as the right back. I worry about Porro's defensive ability, but going forward with his pace and his ability to cut inside and out. I think he and Kulo on that side would be a really useful 1 and 2. In the same way, people are complaining about Solomon, but Solomon deputising for Son or covering Son in that role. The other thing, just to mention that, I think I live in Scotland and I watch Celtic a lot, is that Postecoglou makes a lot of substitutions. When you look at Conte, who just sort of sat back and watched the game go by and maybe made a change very late on. 60 minutes, you might find that, for example, he'll bring on, I'll just give examples, he'll bring on Ndombele for Maddison, he'll bring on Solomon for Son, he'll bring on, say, Porro for Decky, and just give it a completely fresh impetus. He doesn't do it so much at the back, and his pivot certainly doesn't change much, but in those attacking positions, he will chop and change, not just to give players a run out, but to get fresh legs. You have to be able to move to play Ange ball. You have to be fit, and you have to be constantly on the move. It's the antithesis of Conte football. So yeah, maybe a long-winded answer to Decky, but I'm really looking forward to this season. I couldn't wait for the last one to end, and I can't wait for this one to start.
To be honest, Ian, because you said that, I know that you're a Celtic fan as well, or a Celtic follower. His fullbacks or wingbacks, how do they play, and what is it? Do we have the players who can perform for to play his tactics?
Do we have to do what, Jens, to play his tactics?
Do we have the players? Do we have the wingbacks?
Well, he doesn't play with wing backs. I think that's really important. He plays an orthodox back four, but when you're in possession of the ball, the wing backs get into an advanced position. First of all, they invert. So you will have the pivot, which is Callum McGregor, was Callum McGregor for Celtic. I think it will be Bissouma.
Yeah.
Bentancur could play as well, as could Sarr, as could Skip. I think we're going to have to see who is going to be the right player for that job. And I'll throw, no one laugh at me here, Eric Dyer could play that role as well. And I know we have to speak about this.
We've had a discussion about that.
And the reason why Eric Dyer can play it is that, one, his natural position is as a midfield player, but the ball needs to be moved quickly, short and long. And Dyer, for a lot of his faults, by God, he's got a lot of faults, he can pass the ball. He's one of the most accurate passers of the football, long and short, in the club. Part of the, that's not his weakness. So I just put that in. I don't see him as being the starter there, but it's a role he could play. We got plenty of players in there. That's the only point I'm making. We got a lot of players that could play in that pivot. And I know we disagreed about Højbjerg.
Yeah.
I don't think Højbjerg's an Ange player, and I think that's why there's been all the speculation about moving. I suspect he said to Levy, particularly if we talk about there would have been conversations about who you want out as well as who you want in. And I think he'd have said, of the players in your squad that you've got that I don't need, that we can raise some money for, Højbjerg is one of them. So you've got your pivot, which will be in front of your, let's say, in front of your back four. But then when that ball is moved, the fullbacks come inside, and there they get space. If you picture the pivot, the number 6, picking the ball up around the centre circle, inside your half, the centre circle, so sort of 10 yards from the halfway line, and then the I'm doing it with my hands, but you can't see it on camera. The one or both of the fullbacks coming inside and picking the ball up, say at the inside left, inside right position. The other 10, on the centre circle, the other side. Then they've got the freedom and they've got space, and they'll move the ball quickly to the 2 number 8s, which will be Madison and A.N. Other, plus the wide wingers. And you might then see that they don't just stay inverted; they will come out and go outside of Son or outside of Decky, or come inside. But of course, not taken away from the 2 number 8s that will also be required to get forward from that position around the edge of the box and to have shots or to create for the centre forward. It's a very fluid, fast-moving system, and that requires players to get into attacking positions very, very quickly. It will be interesting how it works with Tottenham, because on the one hand, they'll have a lot more, they're better players. Tottenham have got much better players than Celtic. Secondly, and Scottish football's deteriorated quite a lot over the last few years. But you find that the apart from Rangers, all the teams just sit back and put 10 behind the ball. So it makes it, and they play a very, very low block, which clearly, decent teams in England won't do it. But because you're committing so many players forward at so many times, you are vulnerable to the counter attack.
Aussie ball.
Ball, yeah, absolutely. So there'll have to be that discipline. But as I've said, I think since Pochettino left, the football has been awful. And I don't know, Kev, what age Kev is. It's maybe the grey beard that's making you look older than you may be. But I'm 63. So I've seen some good Tottenham sides, and I've seen sides with the traditions that we have of playing football. And the football since Pochettino left has been awful. And this is the closest thing, I suspect, to Pochettino that we've had. And I think very much you watch Ange's teams, and he's very much a disciple of Pep in terms of that high, that high press, winning the ball back high up the pitch quickly. Going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Now, I just want to clarify something here. I've been a football fan for a long time, and I still can't figure out what a number 6 is, what a number 8 is, because when I was growing up, number 6 was a centre back and number 8 was central midfield.
You're so right. You're so right. Does someone else want to talk rather than leave it to me? Because I'm with you on this.
We've got a little bit off tangent, so we're just talking about the incomings. So just before you came back, Ian, we were talking about going to talk about Vicario. Now I know absolutely nothing about this guy. Does anyone else know anything about him apart from Buffon said he's going to be the future of the Italian national team for the next 10 years or something? Yeah, John, please.
Well, because I don't know anything about Italian football, I asked my mate at work who does watch Italian football, and I was expecting him to come out of a few buts. He's good at this, but he's that. But he goes, you've actually stolen a bit of a gem there, because he said he's one of the best keepers in the league, and that Juventus and all the big guns were trying to get him, as their next number one kind of thing. And he said he's really good. He said you've actually got a really good keeper there. You've stolen a march there on all the big clubs in Italy, so he's quite highly rated by someone who watches Italian football every week. So that's a good sign, I thought. And there were no buts. He didn't say but he can't kick or but he can't throw or but there were no buts at all. He just said, yeah, you've got a real good one there.
Well, that's good. And Mourinho gave him massive amounts of praise, and now I know that doesn't go very far in our part of North London, but it's. Yeah, he does sound good. And how old is he? 24, 25?
24, isn't
he? Yeah, 24.
Okay. So he's very young for a keeper as well, isn't he? But then again, I suppose we got Hugo when he was, what's he now, 34?
I think we got him when he was 26, didn't we? There was an Italian journalist on Chris Cowlin or last one on Spurs a couple of days ago, and he was raving about him as well. He said, trust me, you've got a good one there. And they were like saying, we'll come back to you if we haven't. He goes, don't worry, I'm not even worried about it. You've got a good one there. So that was good as well.
A bad word about this boy. I know nothing about him. I've not heard anyone say a negative thing about him at all.
Brilliant.
I can't imagine why he's signed for us, though. I mean, if you're a goalkeeper, right, and I've heard of the same as the rest of you, like arguably
money.
Best in Serie A, and you look at our defense, where you look at Dyer, and you just think, I'm not having that in front of me. Absolutely no fucking way. Absolutely no bloody way. And even if you'd seen YouTube clips, you'd just be like, I'm all right, cheers. But he's like you say, it must just be money. Must just be like, he might have just always wanted to play in the Premier League. So
I think I saw an interview with him, and his English is absolutely brilliant. I think he's a bit of an Anglophile, so that could also be a factor why he's come to us. So
the other good thing as well is that when if you remember when Galini came over, everyone. The comments coming from Italy were like, yeah, he's all right, and he's a bit dodgy at this, but he's okay. And they were kind of, it was kind of mixed reviews, wasn't it? But with this lad, as Ian said, it's all been good, good reviews so far.
I mean, what worried me about Galini that somebody scouted him, because his positioning for me was
it was terrible. Wasn't it?
I mean, his positioning as a goalkeeper was so deep in his area. Yeah. But no wonder he was getting anything close to the corners was going past him, because he hadn't covered angles. I mean, it was like basic stuff.
Yeah. I don't think it was a coincidence that he had the same agent as Romero. So it was probably part of that deal, wasn't it? Like, if you get us Romero, we'll take Galini as well,
Yeah, okay. I mean, maybe it wasn't a good appointment, but yeah.
Okay. So moving swiftly on, this one really surprised me for the amount that we got. That we pay for him, and also he didn't seem to like Spurs an awful lot when he was younger.
Yeah.
I tell you what, this is going to be the coup of the century. I think this is going to be one of them ones, because like a ridiculously small amount of money for a player that is you look, even on paper, and those of us have watched him play. It's a phenomenal amount of business. And I think
it's apart. It's not Filbert Street anymore, is it? What's it called now?
Chicken Grand.
Yes.
The Bow Camp Stadium or something. I don't know. Where's it?
It's a sponsored one, isn't it? Yeah.
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 Fox Power or something like that. King Power.
King Power Stadium.
Something like
But
that.
when they beat us 4-1 last season, he absolutely ripped us a new a-hole.
And we need that, don't we? We need more goals coming from midfield, and it's what Angelos is all about. And you know, I worry about Bentancur. I think if he hadn't got himself injured, long-term injured, we wouldn't have needed Maddison, to be honest. But I worry about Bentancur getting frozen out now.
They play a little bit different because I think Bentancur sits
yeah.
a bit more in midfield and Maddison's more of an attacking midfielder. So I've heard it's going to be what 4-3-3. Is that what he plays, Ian?
Yeah.
Usually,
I mean, that's not to say he won't change it. I mean, I could see him going 4-2-3-1 in away matches. You know, at places like Man City, Liverpool, whatever. I could see that, but his normal style is 4-3-3 with you know, go back a number 6 and 2 number 8s rather than a number 10.
Right.
Sorry, yeah. And then a number 7, a number 11, and a number 9. A number 7, 9, and 11. An outside left, an outside right, and a centre forward. With for anyone old enough to remember or know what the 2-3-5 was, with the 2 number 8s becoming effectively old-fashioned inside forwards. So you had you have your 5 attackers. And then and with your fullbacks as well, you can have 7 players in and around the box. It's exciting.
Did he have a player like Maddison at Celtic, Ian, like a lock picker like that?
I mean, probably you'd say Matt O'Reilly played that. I call it the inside right role, but you got to understand that. For what we're talking chalk and cheese as players. Matt O'Reilly is a decent player. Funny enough, I think he came from MK Dons, a little bit like Delhi. And there's talk about him moving south for 12 million or so. But Maddison was the player for Tottenham right from central casting, and he's absolutely tailor made for what we want and what we need. And I'm sure Ange would have said, get me that player. And that's who's going to play in that position. And I think he'll be critical. And his little short passing in and around the box with the movement that Ange Ball creates, his ability to shoot and score goals on his own, his free kicks. God, I'm getting excited here. Yeah.
Jens, there's a good point on you saying about his tweets about Tottenham and stuff. They tried shop ganging that expressions guy on AFTV. He was on that thing called The Best of Rivals, and they were like laughing, go, "This guy hates you," and he just goes, "I hate us most weeks. He's one of us." He goes, "No one can hate Tottenham more than me most weeks. Maddison's just one of us. He hates us like the rest of us." just completely shut him down. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant!
I think he was about 16 when he said that stuff.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Listen, yeah. I think I'll forgive him.
Yeah, because he's from Cov, isn't he? He's from Coventry.
Yeah.
Somewhere around it.
Yeah.
He's got that similar accent to Grealish, that kind of brand.
Yeah, so I think, but he's a Liverpool fan, isn't he?
I don't know. I've got no idea.
Liverpool, or I think it's Liverpool or Man United. It's one of the.
I don't suppose that really matters. But
nah.
As you said, he was 16 when he did it. I'm surprised he hasn't come out with something similar to Matt Doherty, though, like a tweet with.
Yeah. The good thing was when they showed him his introduction video when he's being shown around the stadium and whatnot with his family, you could tell he wasn't faking. He was genuinely quite blown away, wasn't he, by the facilities and being a Tottenham player, and you can just tell he's a Tottenham player, isn't he? Really,
Yeah. But also, did you see the video as well with him with his kid in the Spurs shop?
Yeah.
Nice.
And he does look genuinely excited to be here.
Yes, I mean, you can't fake that, can you? I mean, certain players you can tell they're like saying phrases that they've been told by the PR man to say to try and get the crowd on side. But you could tell that was genuine, wasn't it? His reactions and stuff. And when he saw his picture on the side of the stadium and stuff, it was quite genuinely touched, wasn't he? So it was good to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel a bit sorry for him having had. Did his wife give birth to twins?
Twins,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and he's had to, no paternity leave. James, off you go to Australia. It's tough, but
It also
Okay.
goes along with what we were saying about Ange, wasn't it? We wanted a manager that actually wanted to be at the club rather than one who was looking down his nose at us. And it looks like Maddison's like genuinely buzzing to be here. So that's another good sign, isn't it?
John, I think that's such a good point. Something I've certainly discussed on streams. I'm sick of having a manager that dares to think they're doing us a favour. Yeah, I know we haven't been as successful as we might have been over the last 20 years, but there's no definition that Tottenham aren't a massive pioneering football club in the Premier League, in Europe, and in everything that we've done. We've been trendsetters. So for anybody to come and think they're doing us a favour, no way.
No, absolutely. So Kev, you're a bit quiet. What are your thoughts on Maddison?
Well, I think he's matured in himself. I don't mean his football, but he's got a girlfriend, wife. I don't know what it is, girl partner, and they've just had twins. And it's a crucial point in his life as well, and it's going to give him security for the next 5 years or whatever. And he knows they're set up. He knows it's a big club, and I don't think he was ever going to go to Newcastle because of where it is. It's one of them places,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Down south. There's the property and everything's much dearer, but someone with that kind of money coming in, it won't be a hindrance to him.
Yep.
The club will probably sort him out with all that and where to go and where to live. And he's made it now. He's in a big time. And I think he'd be grateful for that.
You know what I think one of the turning points was, and what's most impressed me about him is when he got left out of the England squad, didn't he? And Southgate slagged him off in a press conference, and he didn't kind of bite back, did he? The old Maddison would have bit back and had a little sarky comment and stuff, but he just got his head down, worked harder, played brilliantly for the rest of the season, and he broke his way into that World Cup squad, didn't he? So I thought that was a sign of maturity from him when he did that, rather than the old Maddison probably would have had a cocky comment and done a celebration to mock Southgate or something. He just got his head down, worked harder, and played better, didn't he? Which is a good sign.
Yeah. I mean, it's one simple question for everybody. Please, no one laugh at me again. Would you rather have paid £105 million for Rice, or would you rather have paid £40 million for Maddison?
Madison,
No brainer.
Maddison.
Yeah.
But they are two massively different players.
I appreciate.
Rice is worth 105.
Rice is not worth 105. Rice is not better than Partey, and I don't know what's going on with that bloke. All the off-field talk and stuff like that, but apparently he's off. But yeah, Rice is not at Partey's level yet. He will get there probably within the next few years, but I think the Gooners seem to think that they're nailed on for the league now. Nah.
I hope that when we play Arsenal in September, end of September, 24th or something, at their place, and Rice comes on, I hope he gets mullered. Thank you very much.
But talking about the Goons, they signed someone from Ajax, and obviously, as you know, I live in the Netherlands, and all my in-laws are Ajax fans. He did not have a good season last year.
No.
I don't think I think they've got another Davinson Sanchez on their hands. High price, and unless he has someone experienced next to him, I'm not sure he's going to do that well. But yeah.
Arsenal have just got, speaking of Ajax, they've just got a defender. How much fun are we going to have with this? They've just got a defender from Ajax called Timber.
That's what I was just talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's who I was just talking about, Simon.
Gold! Absolute gold! Oh.
Timber!
Can't write it.
Yeah.
Timber.
Okay, let's crack on with the next guy. Don't know an awful lot about this bloke either. Solomon from was from Shakhtar Donetsk, was at Fulham last season on loan. I have quite a few friends in Israel, as I volunteered on a kibbutz back in the 90s, and one of them has 3 footballing sons. One of the sons actually plays for, I think it's Maccabi Haifa, so they know a fair bit about Israeli football, and they're saying this guy's the real deal. They reckon he's the best player they've had since what was his name? Benayoun or Berkovic. So yeah, did anyone see anything of him last year?
I saw about 5 or 6 of the Fulham games because I watch every football match that's on, midweek and that. Like,
You don't want to talk to the missus, do you, Kev? So,
yeah, well, no. She watches telly. I watch on a laptop. I from all over the planet. So, yeah, he's pacey, he's fast, very Sonny-esque on his turning in and shooting. He's strong. It's a good buy, I think. Yeah, very good buy. Well, did he buy it?
Especially for the price, Kev, eh?
Yeah.
Well,
2 shekels.
Sorry.
See, this is what I was saying earlier about the kind of changes that Ange will make with an hour gone. So I could see he plays. I think Solomon's best position is wide left, although he's naturally right-footed in the same way as Decky plays wide right and is naturally left-footed. And he will change them about, by the way. If Decky and Solomon are playing, they might try 20 minutes and then they'll swap over and have a little go at different Jens on different sides. But again, you can see, with Ange ball, the defenders are going to be running and bringing on somebody like Solomon with the pace he's got to burn, turning more tired defenders. I can see that really working. I think is another really good and exciting signing. Particularly, we talk about the kind of football that we want to see. I think he's an exciting player to give us that kind of football.
I saw that.
Sorry, go on.
I saw that they'd done a thing on Monday Night Football on him, hadn't they? Like before one of the Fulham games, Carragher and Neville did a whole piece on him when he was first coming into the Fulham team and doing well. He scored a few goals, didn't he? And they did a whole piece on his the style of play and stuff like that. So I thought that was quite a good sign that they'd picked him out. You wouldn't have seen him do a little piece on Danjuma, for instance, would you? Like to compare like another kind of cheap signing that we've made.
Yeah, well, well, obviously Danjuma didn't go on loan to someone in England, did he? Before that, but yeah,
there might be some blowback from that, because Shakhtar Donetsk, they are absolutely fuming about Solomon and him being nicked, especially by us, and the only reason he went on loan to Fulham is because FIFA allowed this ruling. Well, they had this ruling like restricting players playing in Ukraine, and he changed that, and then he was able to kind of flee the country, if you like. His whole story, by the way, about him escaping the war zone is amazing. And they feel that he should still be with them. They value him that much. They should still be with them because, all right, he's been in a tough situation and everything, but they were fuming that he went to Fulham and now obviously he's permanent with us. They could challenge that, and
I get the impression that's why there were the delays in announcing the deal, though, Simon, because Tottenham were seeking clarification from FIFA as to what would happen if they did sign him and say, is the comeback going to be on us or is it going to be on you? And I think they got assurances from FIFA. No, it was our ruling. So if there's any comeback, it'll be on us, not you.
Well, if you've got assurances from FIFA, then all is back, isn't it?
That's
just brown envelopes,
Yeah, I can't help thinking that arranging this pre-season friendly was part of the appeasement, an awful word to Shakhtar to say, look, it is what it is, but look, we'll pay you whatever to come over here. Rather than have an argument. I know their chairman was saying, I'll meet Mr. Levy before the game. We'll have a chat, but I'm sure there'll be some pretty high gate receipts from it that they'll be able to come to some sort of arrangement that's satisfactory.
But it's very cleverly. It was very cleverly done, though, Ian, because Levy said all of the proceeds are going to charity. So he's doing, on one hand, he's doing them a favour, but all the money's going to charity. So they won't get any of it. Yeah, they won't get any of it. It's all going to the Ukrainian rescue charities and stuff like that. So it's a good PR exercise, isn't it? But you still won't have to give Shakhtar any money.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Typical Daniel. Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Well, that's the.
Well, Porro, we secured Porro as well, didn't we? That was a loan option to buy, wasn't it? And that's all gone through now. Yeah, that got announced the other day that they'd made the option to buy permanent. So there's a few rumblings that we might send him back, but I think he's a good player. definitely
Yeah.
glad we kept him.
And again, he's a character as well, isn't he? I don't know if you follow him on Twitter. He's always posted up funny stuff, and you need players like that in the team.
He's got good energy, hasn't he? Good energy around the place.
Him and Sonny, I bet they have that dressing room in absolute fits of laughter. So,
just to come in there, John, I actually thought it wasn't an option; it was an obligation, and the structure of the deal was done for reasons that suited Sporting rather than for any reason that suited us. I didn't think we had an option. I mean, I might be wrong, but
it's probably to do with, like you say, being announced at a certain date, so it was in their different tax year or their different financial.
I think that's what it was about. I do think,
I thought there was something in regards to Porro and Kulu about us qualifying for the Champions League that then we had to buy him, but I maybe
the Kulu one definitely that was the rumbling, which is why Levy renegotiated the price, wasn't it?
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, these deals are also blooming complicated. I mean, what happened to you bought a player, you sold a player? You know, now it's options, obligations, this, and then conditional upon reaching the Champions League. Oh, it's all complicated. But I don't think anyone's unhappy with the business we have done. I guess I'm not running the show; it's your show, Jens. But I guess the worry, the concern at the moment is we've gone to Australia and haven't done certain business and appear to be as far from doing that business as we were a month ago.
Yeah, that's very true. And that's what we're going to get onto next. So,
seamless.
You can see that wandering around the bottom of the screen.
Oh, wow, okay.
I'm a little bit now. I was a little bit worried before, but now listening to what Ian has said about he likes to change his forward players, that probably links in with the amount of links that we have with attacking midfielders. But I heard something today which was a little bit disheartening. I don't know if the rest of you are on there. Me and Kev are, but Spurs Community, which is quite a big
community,
which is quite a big message board on the internet, and one of the most respected in the nose. I know, people take the piss out of them, but this guy has always been pretty straightforward. He has some links in the club, and one of them I think is quite high up in the club. He has written, "I'll be honest, as of now, if we don't end up short term again with Poundland versions or last minute panic buys, I'll be surprised."
That's depressing. That's really depressing.
What did we hear earlier in the week? That Van der Ven was almost done. Tap Sober was going to be somewhere near. Another one of the Indonos said he's pretty sure that Dyer will be starting as centre back first day of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, this is all rumor. This is not definite, but it really doesn't sound good. And the fact that we were told that Van der Ven was almost done.
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, that doesn't make sense, does it? That even Fabrizio Romano was saying it's almost a here we go. Now he's as well connected as anybody in European journalism. Yeah. And he's saying it's almost done, and then it just goes dead. I mean, I don't know. Is it Wolfsburg he plays for?
Yes.
Yeah. That they suddenly I know you don't know that it was a nearly done deal at 25 million. That looks good, and then suddenly it was we're miles apart because they want 40. I mean, I don't know about what the other lads think, but I mean, I'm certainly of the opinion we need two more central defenders.
Sure, yeah.
I don't mind Dyer staying at the club as cover. I think he's got some versatility that's useful, but I don't want him starting. I don't think the fans will accept him starting. He's not a good enough defender.
No.
I think it's worse. I think it's worse than that. I think he'll be named our new captain as well. I think that shitty documentary that came out the other day, and obviously there's Lloris is going.
Guys, read the room.
Yeah, Lloris is going. Kane's only got a year left. Is he going? It wouldn't surprise me if he was named captain. Unbelievably so. That's like you say, Jens. Just they've got no idea of the ill feeling towards him, have they? I don't think they have. They must do, surely.
They're in the stadium. Come on, every week.
Yeah, but they tune that out there, don't they? So
yeah, but their so-called head of whatever PR, Donna Cullen. Again, as you say, they tune that out. She tunes it out. She hears what she wants to hear. Again, yeah, I can't say.
If you think about it, Jens, obviously we know Lloris is going, and obviously Kane would get the captaincy if he's, and I think he'll stay, but he'd be the obvious choice to get it. But because of the uncertainty around, if you look around the rest of the squad, who's going to be named the captain if you take Kane and Lloris out of it? And Dyer seems the obvious longest serving. He's English, centre back, good leadership skills in the dressing room. I think he'll be made club captain. It depends how long this Harry thing rumbles on for, doesn't it?
Yeah. And that's the thing. Because I hate all this kind of level of rumours and stuff, because 9 out of 10 times it means nothing anyway. So I take no notes of it. But I've also been so focused on Harry coming or going. That's taken up all my time, literally, like focusing on that. And as of the latest, as of this morning, it's basically a done deal for Bayern. That's
absolute bollocks. Have you heard?
Yeah.
People from Bayern and talking. Oh yes, we have made the decision, and Kane will be our new player. Mr. Levy will have to listen to us. I don't think so, fellas.
All that does, that means Mr. Levy adds another 0 to the end of the price, doesn't it? That's all that does. Yeah.
That's the ironic thing is, and I never thought I'd say this, but in terms of Harry staying, Levy is our only hope. Like he's meeting with them now, and just like you know what he's doing his thing. He's doing his Levy thing, isn't he? And it'll not be another Man City thing this season, won't it? Like he'll stay, but at where the situation is now, I wouldn't blame him if he went, and if he stayed, it'd be just a bit awkward, I think.
What does Ange do? Does he say, Kane, you're my captain, and then Bayern come in with 120 million, bomb, he's gone? What happens then?
We've got ahead of ourselves.
Looks silly, doesn't
it? we got ahead of ourselves, so I put up the new these. But
and met up with Harry for the first time on Friday, and just told him like, this is where I'm going with the club and everything. So we don't know if that's had a sway or not.
I think it depends if Harry used to watch Neighbours or Home and Away when he was young.
I used to watch both.
Yeah, same here.
Rack off, you drone guy.
You flaming guy.
Out of this list at the bottom, the most I'm surprised at out of all is Højbjerg. Because I've been talking about captains. But I thought, he's more or less a captain anyway when he plays. He plays every single minute of last season almost. And I would have thought he'd be nailed on to be captain. And now he's right in there for going.
I think Ian said he's not really a Postecoglou kind of player, though, is he? Yeah. So maybe he's the one that he's actually got a bit of value that we can cash in on and reinvest.
I can say, yeah. But myself and Ian had a conversation about that on Twitter. And I still think that, I've changed my mind a little bit, because I said that maybe he could play that, was it number 6 pivot? But I think he's more of a box to box, isn't he? I still don't think that Dyer will be able to play that, but I think Højbjerg is bloody hell, I might have upset him. But I think Højbjerg's probably surplus to requirements. We need to go out and get another Danish player. What about that Højlund guy from Atalanta?
Well, I don't know if you've seen in the rumour mills today and all the papers on Twitter. We're interested in it. Now that Palace guy, the centre back again, we're after him again apparently. Yeah. 2 or 3 different reports come out in the press today saying we're looking at him again.
And what was I hearing on Twitter earlier? I don't know if this is true. Obviously, it's Twitter. But they said that we were going to sign him on a free transfer, but then Levy moved the goalposts and said, oh, no, I only want to offer this. And Palace came straight in and got him. and now we want to pay 25 million for it.
40, apparently. That's what Palace want.
40.
40.
Yeah.
So that concludes that deal, doesn't it? I don't think Levy's paying £40 million for someone he could have got on free last year, is he?
No, never.
But apparently, welcome back.
Yeah, back on my third device now. So yeah, it's the internet's not as stable as it could be here. So
Okay, yeah. Are you out in the sticks, or are you?
It comes and goes.
Yeah. Are you in the sticks, or are you in the city, or?
No, well, no. I'm in a reasonably large town, and the internet's normally quite good, but it just has these moments where you just get. It's actually if I could describe it as my internet as a footballer, it's Sanchez, it's Davinson Sanchez. You know,
Oh, God.
Everything's going along smoothly for a minute, and then you have 10 minutes of total fucking mayhem where you never know what's going to happen next. That's my internet.
The only difference is you can probably get your money back from your internet.
Can we get 40 million back for Sanchez though?
God, no.
No.
I was talking to one of my colleagues the other day who's an Ajax fan, and he was one of the ones who was very, very happy the amount of money they got from us for Sanchez. And he was saying that there's rumours of him coming back to the Netherlands, and a number of Ajax fans are saying Ajax need to move, they're not moving fast enough, etc., etc. And what he said, well, who says that he wants to come back to the Netherlands? Weather's shit, he doesn't speak the language. If he's got an offer from Spain, he's probably going to go there. If he's got an offer, I think, was there a Saudi offer? Well, I might have been dreaming that. I mean, so many players.
Turkish club, I think, were after him as well. I think.
Who? Sorry, Turkish.
Turkish.
Oh yeah, Galatasaray.
Yeah.
Or Fenerbahce. Yeah,
One of them. Yeah.
They're about the only two Turkish clubs I really know.
Speaking about spending money, just a very quick one. I noticed the BBC did a poll on their website recently about specifically for Spurs fans, and the biggest waste of money that on a player that there's ever been. And there's all the usual names there, and there's only one that I just, for the life of me, cannot remember, and it's a guy apparently called Gregor Raziak.
Raziak, yeah. Polish striker.
We didn't spend a lot of money on him though. We bought him from Southampton or something, didn't we? And I reckon if he scored that header in the Man United game, which hit the bar, I reckon he would have gone on to score an absolute shed load. But
when was this?
You're not confusing him with Sergio Rebrov, are you?
No. Gregor Raziak. You remember Raziak?
Yeah.
Big lanky bloke.
Yeah, Playmobil hair, didn't he? Like a big bundle of Playmobil hair. Could just cut off at the fringe. And...
It was the first Lego Pep. But yeah, he was. Yeah, I that was around the time that I seem to remember that Jamie Slabber was coming through as well. And again, I reckon if he'd scored that goal against, I can't remember who it was, where he just dicked it wide, he wouldn't have ended his career at Boreham Wood. I think he would have gone on to be maybe not quite as good as Harry Kane, but a half decent striker. But anyway, we digress. Lo Celso and Perisic.
I'm sad to see Lo Celso go.
I'm not sure that I am, to be honest. I think he had a good couple of months and then injured, came back. Just
disengaged, wasn't he?
Really look interested. To a lesser extent than Ndombele. I didn't put Ndombele on there because I don't think we're going to get rid of him at all. Apparently, Postecoglou wants to give him a second chance, or a third, or a fourth, or a fifth, or however many chances he's had now.
I mean, the one thing we're looking at, and was it? So, I'm on my mobile phone now, so I'm not seeing as well as I was. Was it you, Simon, that was saying about sorry? You are sorry to see the Celso go. I mean, I'm inclined to agree. I think he's another one that would be absolutely made to play Ange ball on that left-sided. I'll call it left-sided inside forward position. I think he'd be very, very good at it. But I don't think Ange fancies him, and I don't think he wants to stay. But if both those things were in place, then that would be a lot better. But I do think he fancies Ndombele for that role. And if his head's right, I mean, again, when you don't want to repeat everything I said about the kind of style of football we had and moving the ball and, opening up spaces. I mean, Ndombele could be brilliant. He could be brilliant if his head's in the right place.
I still prefer Brian Hill in that role, but I've heard Hill's on their way out anyway.
He's injured.
Doesn't want to stay apparently.
He didn't go to he didn't go to Australia. He's injured. So.
My back hurts. Yeah. My brain hurts. Yeah. I think a back injury is a sign that he's one of those looking for another club, and Ange is happy to let him go. Terrible piece of business though, to give Sevilla Lamela £20 million or whatever it was to get Gil, who even I think Conte took one look at him and said, you must be effing joking. You've got to have a bit of physicality to play here. And, someone made that decision to buy Hill without really any understanding of how he would play physically in an English game. So, yeah.
Well, it reminds me a little bit of Jose Dominguez, but Jose Dominguez was built like a brick shithouse, but he was only 5'0", wasn't he?
Yeah.
But then if you look at his stature as well, he reminds me of Postiga, because Postiga was relatively tall, but there was nothing to him.
Hill's bulked up a bit though, hasn't he? He's bulked up a lot.
Has he?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. Okay, Kev, what are your thoughts, mate? Who do you think's going to leave?
Lo Celso.
Yeah.
Hill. See, Perisic, I don't know. It's neither here nor there, is it? I thought he was gone already in the week. I thought I read he'd already gone, but I don't know.
Well, there was again talk, apparently from the Dynamo Zagreb chairman, that Daniel Levy is ruining Perisic's dream of coming back to Dynamo Zagreb. Yeah, I'm sure he's really dreaming of that. Yeah, two pints of lager and a packet of crisps wages.
No, he's on a lot of wages. He's on a lot of wages.
It was always my dream to play for Dynamo Zagreb, but
was that Robbie Keane?
Yeah.
I think Kane's going to stay. I've got a funny feeling Kane will stay, and then he's a free agent from January 1st, and or something like that, and he can just do what he likes after that. He'll see this season out. I don't know. You're not agreeing with me, are you?
No, he's gone.
You think he's gone?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I still think he's going to stay.
I think he's staying. I think it's all his body language, his interviews and stuff. It's not the sign of a man that's winding down an emotional connection to a club for me. If you look at it like that on a human level, it's not. None of his talk is about that, is it?
Yeah.
It's his advisors that's the problem, isn't it? His father and his brother are like, people just laugh at it, or it's nonsensical,
Yeah. So
we have it every year, don't we? So get used to it, don't you?
One player who has left us, Mr. Winks, off to the Championship.
Yep.
He's definitely a player who's divided opinion.
Yep.
I think he's been absolutely awful for the last 3, 4, 5 seasons. Ever since he got that ankle injury.
Yeah.
He's been he hasn't been the same player, and it seems that there were rumours coming out that he was the one who was instigating against managers and causing gossip and stuff like that. Obviously, again, it's paper talk. Is anyone sad to see him go?
Yeah, I am.
No, but I'm sorry that he didn't develop, because my gut is that I'm trying to think. It's not really his ability, but his confidence was coached out of him by Mourinho and by Conte, looking for him to play a certain game. I think he'll be a better player given more freedom, and particularly more freedom to move the ball forward. And then I think when the when the crowd started getting him as well, and I think there was a moment, and I think it was December 21, it must have been. If any of you were there, freezing cold night at Tottenham, December the 4th or whatever. We beat Brentford 2-0 at home. And Winks came on with about 10, 15, to just protect the 2-0 lead. And there was a moment, got the ball sort of 10 yards outside of our penalty area at I'll call it the Paxton Road end. And there was a couple of really nice, easy square balls that were the right balls. But I think he thought, if I play it square, I'm gonna get pelters, as we say in Scotland. So he decided to try and run through two or three defenders, because it was obviously high up the park, and lost possession of the football. And I thought, your head got scrambled there. That was the moment for me. I thought he has to go and find somewhere else to play, because I thought his decision making at that point was, I can't look inside his head, but to me it was, I can't just play a square ball. I've got to try and do something positive. When the square ball and retention of possession was absolutely all he was meant to do. And I hope he comes back as a footballer, because he was a good player. Wasn't a great player, but he was a good player under Poch. He got in the England squad under Poch, so he wasn't he wasn't a piece of rubbish. I'm glad he's moved on, because I think he needed to move on for his own mental health as much as anything. And I hope in the Championship, it's an easier league. It's a good club he's gone to, that he'll excel. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I think he'll get kicked up in the air a lot more in the Championship, but
it might be good. Might be good for him. Yeah, it might be good for him. Might be good for him to develop. Yeah.
It will be good for him, but it's so sad. It's another player that we've ruined because of the manager and the personnel we've got.
Yeah,
we've ruined another one, and it's so freaking sad. He's a Spurs fan through and through. He grew up loving the club, and it should be that fairy tale development dream, the rise and rise and rise. But because successful managers have been crap, and we haven't developed the youngsters through, we've ruined him. Yet another one. All these players we've ruined. That are buggering off and have been waste of money. Been waste of money because we've ruined them. Apart from maybe Ndombele, it's the others have showed potential and should have gone on to greater things. And at other clubs, they probably would have done.
That's the thing. At other clubs, they will do better.
Yeah,
maybe Tottenham is not the right.
Hang on a sec. I've got to go for a minute.
Okay, but maybe Tottenham is not the right environment for them.
I hope for his sake it comes to bite us back in the arse. I hope he spends a season developing really well in the Championship, and then friggin' Aston Villa sign him or something, and he scores a bloody hat trick against us, and it just, I don't actually really, but I just can see stuff like that, and it's you reap what you sow. Do you know what I mean? That's the more we ruin players like this, the more it's going to happen.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah. That one night in Madrid was, and also that goal against Fulham was a bit special. Was it in Madrid or was it at Tottenham? I can't remember.
He scored one against West Ham as well, didn't he?
Yes.
His first goal was against West Ham, one against Fulham as well. Yeah.
Sorry about that. My neighbour just came in. He's going to put a barbecue together for me. My DIY skills are limited. So he sort of came in, all right, Ian, and I'm like, it scared the life out of me. So anyway, so I'm back.
Okay, nice.
I tell you, there's no freaking justice, right? There's no freaking justice where we ruin a player like Winks and the likes of fucking Eric Dyer hang around. Like, what? Yeah. Where's the justice in that?
No, I know, I agree. But
I don't know. They both seem quite nice characters. So I have nothing against their sort of personality or anything like that, but I just think that there's too many mistakes in both of their play.
Yeah, there is now.
As Ian said, as Ian alluded to, Harry didn't know what was going on in his head. And Eric Dyer just, I don't know, there doesn't seem to be an awful lot in his head anyway. So it's, I think it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, to be honest.
Can I make a point that it follows? It follows on from what Simon said. Was when you look back, when people start looking back and writing the history of the club in the last 5-6 years, you look at the number of players that have gone backwards under Mourinho and then Conte, players that didn't develop, players became worse players playing under them. When you think of the players that Pochettino improved, one where we had 5 players on the pitch, I think 5, may have even had 6, 5 players on the pitch playing for England. I'm not going to blame either of them for Delhi. Delhi had clearly gone in a number of respects, but so many players just went backwards, didn't develop. And that to me is unforgivable. Pair of charlatans, give them a big checkbook and go out and spend a couple of $100 million on the best players that you can get, win a couple of things, then everybody falls out with you, and 2 years later you go off and start your carnage somewhere else. Absolute disgrace, the pair of, and I'm really hoping one player. I'm a huge fan of Ollie Skip, but I can't tell you that I was impressed with him the last 6 months of last season when he came into the team. Bentancur got injured. He really disappointed me, and you don't want to say that about a player you're a big fan of. But I'm really hoping this season, with some decent coaching, he starts to improve again. Because when I saw him playing for Norwich, he was by far the best player in the Championship, and I don't think he deserves to go back there like Winks.
We're in danger of doing the same with Skip, aren't we? He's going down exactly the same route of the Harry Winks and everything. When I was a lad, we always had, like you mentioned, Ian, but we always had at least 3 or 4 players in the England squad. And now we're lucky if we got 2. And it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, there's also a problem there, obviously, with prices for good English players. So you need to actually bring them up in your youth team, which I think the youth team seems to be looking pretty special at the moment. But then again, I say that every season. But going back to Mourinho and Conte, I still think that they were Daniel Levy ego signings.
Yeah.
I've got the best manager in the world. Look at me.
Yeah. Profile signings, weren't they?
Yeah, definitely
to raise our profile.
Definitely wasn't the right signings for our club, I think. The right managerial signings for our club. Because, you can say that there's a Tottenham way of playing football, isn't it? And it's not defensive.
No.
And those 2 managers are basically defensive.
He made compromises, didn't he, to raise the profile of the club, and it didn't work, did it? Yeah. And I think he realises that. I think he realises that.
Okay.
I think I'm not one of the purple and yellow Levy outers by a long way. I mean, if there's another offer and a better option for the club, fine. But the one thing for a highly intelligent man, his lack of joined up strategic thinking in the way that he's run the playing side of the club for. Or probably certainly since we lost Poch, has been really awful. I mean, I just don't know what's gone through his head. I've tried. It took long enough to picking managers, bringing bad managers in like Santini and what have you. He manages to get Yol. We're doing not so bad with, and then Yol goes. Then we've got this one, that one. I've lost track, and then we get Pochettino. Great appointment, great football. And then, boom, panic button hit again and bringing in Mourinho. Oh, Jesus, don't. I just get angry at that. This is a highly intelligent man.
Yeah. Do you think that Poch was luck, or do you think that he actually thought that he could do what he was going on to do? Do you think that Pochettino was just luck from Levy, or do you think that he actually thought that he would do what he went on to do?
I wouldn't even dare to try and answer that question. I mean, certainly Pochettino he'd done a really good job at Espanyol, for anyone who watches Spanish football, and then his Southampton team were really, really good to watch. So I think a lot of us were really happy when he came. And I think that's the model, is to be bringing in younger. And I know Andrew's 57, but he's relatively inexperienced at the high level. To bring in someone who's a step up, who can bring a proper, a real attacking and adventurous philosophy to the club, where they've got someone said who's not doing us a favour by coming to managers, who's proud to be the manager of Tottenham. I mean, I think you read so much on the internet. Oh, I read this, I read that, a bit like your Spurs community thing, and it will be last minute panic buys, and you just hope that's complete nonsense. But the one thing I heard that resonates with me is that we know that Mourinho and Levy had always kept in touch. We know that Levy had courted Mourinho on a number of occasions. And I think in one of those conversations, what I heard was that, we know that, you've got this shiny, sometimes when you have a shiny new house, you need new furniture. And I don't think whatever the club was doing, Levy was budgeting for new players. He thought, well, I've got to a Champions League final, so I'm not buying new players. And at that point, Mourinho had said to him, you don't need new players. I can win things with these players. And I think that was music. That was music to Levy's ears. And that's the sort of thing that resonates with me, that's exactly the sort of thing that Levy would say, that I can get rid of here, I can get rid of Pochettino, I can bring in Mourinho, I'll win trophies, and I don't even have to spend money on new players. So, yeah.
And he had Mourinho in place for the Amazon documentary as well, which was what we've discussed a minute ago, was to raise the profile of the club, wasn't it, in America and whatnot. That wouldn't have harmed that, would it, at all?
I still haven't watched it.
No.
Is it any good? Do you recommend it?
Yeah.
Is it better than The Wire? Because I'm watching that again.
No, The Wire is good.
I think Levy's just crap at his job. Like all of us, when we do our jobs, we make mistakes now and again, but most of the time we get it right. Let's say 10 tasks we do, 1 out of 10 of them every now and again we'll make a mistake. He's like the antithesis of that. Like, he goes wrong, and 9 out of 10 things he does are crap decisions, and then one of them turns out to be, now and again turns out to be good. With Pochettino. And
he's a businessman, but he seems to think that he's a football man.
Yeah,
he's not.
He's crap at it.
Yeah, it's he should stick to the property buying and the whatever stadium building, etc., but get someone in who understands football.
Well, why is he meeting with Bayern Munich? Why is he meeting with Bayern Munich right now? Why about this Sean Mullen bloke? Why isn't he doing that?
He likes Schnitzel.
Stepping away from that.
He likes Schnitzel. That's why he's in Munich.
I've heard that. In Australia, I saw a photo this morning.
Sorry?
I saw a photo of him and Donna Cullen in Australia this morning.
They are in Australia. There was some guy walked up and said, "Can you sign my shirt?" Why would you ask Daniel Levy to sign your shirt? I wouldn't even ask Alan Sugar.
It's a real one. It's
the guys before that. I don't care.
Give him a chance. He might have run out of toilet paper.
I was thinking that, but decided not to say
just
it.
Shut your pants. Can you sign this so I can make it into toilet paper?
I don't think Scott Munn started yet, Simon. There's problems, wasn't there, with him coming to us?
Apparently, he turned up in England, and it's like, what? Everyone's in Australia?
Get the email.
Does anybody have any idea? This is a really interesting thing. He was under contract with Manchester City. He'd presumably given the appropriate notice he was meant to have given, and was therefore due to start on the 1st of July. All of a sudden, there's contractual problems over that. Now, I mean, my field of work's employment law, so I'm trying to work out what can those contractual things be. If his contract, he'd given the requisite notice to Manchester City, that's That's the bit, the end of it. Unless Manchester City are suggesting that he's in breach of some of their confidentiality or clauses in his contract and have taken out an injunction to stop him working. But there's no word of that other than there's been complications and he can't start. It's weird.
Yeah,
very, very odd.
Very odd. Okay, so on to something a little bit less nice. Delhi. That was. I haven't actually watched the interview yet.
No, I've been reading about it though.
I've caught parts of it.
Oh, you must watch it.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, and anyone watching who hasn't seen it, you must watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't stand Gary Neville, but I might override that just to watch it, I think.
Yeah. But I think you can kind of, for someone that good, but that young to sort of burn out. It reminds me a little bit. Wayne Rooney, Ericsson, they started very young and they burnt out around not burnt out, but they were not as good at around about 28. What is he now? 26? Delhi?
27.
27. Yeah.
27, yeah.
And so, yeah, it really does. From what I've read, it sounds like he had a very, very tough life. And to be able to do what he's done in that short period of time with all of that hanging on his head or hanging on his shoulders, you've got to give that bloke a massive amount of respect.
Absolutely. And it's when you look back now what we know now, it was inevitable that burnout happened. Because it's always going to catch up with you sooner or later unless you deal with it in therapy and stuff like that. And the problem is, I hope it raises the issue of how footballers, especially young footballers, are not looked after.
Sorry, guys, I'll be back in 1 minute. Carry on talking. Sorry.
They're not well looked after. And we've seen recently over the last 10 years of football coaches that have abused boys and stuff like that. And I know it wasn't quite the same with Delhi, but they've been allowed to turn a blind eye to that kind of thing. And when they become footballers, nobody's really looking after them. I know we're talking historically here. I don't know, it's obviously quite a few years ago for Delhi and the others, but I can almost guarantee that there'll be loads of other footballers out there who've been through similar things that just haven't been looked after. It hasn't come to light, and I hope that Delhi doing the interview will have, given them, courage to come out and say what needs to be said. And something needs to change because we know the FA are shit. We know the FA are crap at what they do. Because they've, the people at the top of the FA aren't really in football. But this is like it's almost like a human rights issue that needs, these lads need to be looked after, and the players that have gone through it, there will be others, need to be, encouraged. Maybe not all of them to come out publicly, but all of them certainly to be looked after and given free therapy. You know what I mean? God's sake, terrible.
Their well-being is not really considered, is it? I mean, it's politicised to some level by people, isn't it? But they say, footballers, they pay. You should give the money to nurses, only kicking the ball around, earning that much money. So their mental health and well-being isn't taken into consideration at all. Is it like, they should be happy their footballers on 200 grand a week? What are they moaning about, kicking the ball around? And it's a bigger issue in society with that, because footballers aren't respected, there's no respect towards them. Then they're seen as just these what would you say, cutthroat, money grabbing, arrogant arseholes. And there's no compassion shown towards footballers, is there at all, on a larger scale in communities, to be honest?
Yeah, it's absolutely right. And it's terrible. It's a bit like
they're dehumanized, aren't they? They're dehumanized footballers, aren't they? They are.
Yeah, and and that's true to a certain extent. And there's some players that really don't help that image at all. But when you get decent quality players like Delhi that have just gone to pot because of what's happened to them in the past, and I'm not saying obviously from a football point of view that could be prevented. With others, it could be well prevented, but it certainly should be looked after. I think maybe these days, maybe it is maybe it is better. You know, there is a better access to therapy and what have you. And looking at that side of things, I don't really know, but
Well,
you just wonder how many more are out there. You know,
I don't know if you remember Simon Paul Stewart used to play for us. He was a victim of, what was his name, Barry, someone or other.
Yeah,
who apparently
Brannan.
Abused thousands of boys or whatever.
Yeah.
And I hope that they can get together, and I hope they can, you know, that something, I can't say good, but something positive will come out of it. That if they can, I know that Delhi's abuse wasn't anything to do with football, but he does have he has a big fan base, and he can perhaps stop that happening to some other kids. It's terrible.
Kev, what's it like in Ireland with the youth system there? Are they well looked after, do you know?
It's grassroots stuff. It really is basic. There's not a lot of funding over here either. That's one of the biggest problems. Even it's all self-funded. Like our local village runs quite a few teams, and they've got a pitch down the bottom, and they've got a clubhouse up that way. It's well run and everything else, but I don't know what sort of safeguards there are, you know, because it's popular. Football is popular, and there's also hurling, obviously, in a GAA, and there's all different clubs and everything involved in it. It's run pretty well, and it's fierce competition as well, believe it or not. But even higher up, there's no money for Ireland's girls team are playing in Australia in the World Cup. They haven't got enough money for kits and stuff like that, and you know, they were playing in borrowed kits and stuff like that. It's the finance over here is just not enough. Because we had a guy running the FAI, can't think of his name off the top of my head. He was scalping all the
Brian. Yeah, no, because I see a lot of your tweets.
Delaney, his name was Delaney. He was skimming the money from the FA, Irish FA, and partying all the time and everything, and he got away with it for years and years. So all that money should have gone into the grassroots, and he never made it. You know, because he was robbing it all.
Wanker.
It's typical Ireland. Ireland is corrupt as anything all the way through. You know, and a lot of interfering with kids at all levels as well. You know, you pick up the paper every week and it's happening, and historical as well. You know, but from people, you know, it's the church and the church and the government. It was swept under the carpet for years and years and years. You know, people are still coming forward now from 30, 40 years ago.
Unbelievable.
Bit off course, but there you go.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see where Delhi ends up. It doesn't sound from the interview that Everton have got any sort of long-term ambition for him. So he kind of said that Sean Dyche has been good as gold, but he said he hasn't heard from the club that they do want him or they don't want him, which doesn't sound positive, does it? But so it'd be interesting to see where his next move is. Would you be surprised if he went to Chelsea with Poch?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. How long's his contract at Everton?
I don't know.
No.
It's 7 more games and they have to pay 10 million.
So that obviously plays a considering factor.
Yeah, they'll never do that, will they? Because they got no money either. So
no.
Good job, Levy got his own back on by pinching Danjuma from him, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that worked well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was really trusted by the manager, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think Delhi should just take some time out from football, take a season out, get better in every single sense of the word, and then make the mother of all comebacks.
That'd be nice. I think if he does take one season out, I don't think he's ever coming back.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's not his plan, Simon. Simon, in the interview, he said he's feeling mentally in a good place and fit and healthy, and he can't wait to get back playing again. He's got that love for football back again, so his plans are to come back straight away.
That's good. I was watching that goal he scored against Arsenal. You know, that one that they played a long ball over and he just sort of dinked it over the gut.
Yeah.
That was, and then that one against Crystal Palace.
Get that as well. Yeah.
Alice goal, man! Oh my god,
what a player!
And the one against Chelsea where he scored twice. We won at Chelsea.
Yes.
Going back to what I said over an hour ago, that long ball that he took in, you know, one touch and then the second touch in the net, that was from Eric Dyer. That first ball
back in the day.
Yeah.
Must have been a clearance.
Yeah.
You just hit it.
It was a massive head.
Yeah.
Okay then, guys. Right, we're just under an hour and a half. So, anyone have any other business that you want to discuss?
Well, the only thing is just going to go back to the centre half position. I'm distinctly worried about it. I did a show with Colin from Indiana. You know Colin, Jens?
Yeah, Colin,
yeah.
Talk the ball.
And a point he made was that even with the same defenders, that hopefully they won't be as exposed as badly, because of course particularly under Conte, we just sat back and invited pressure. I mean, I'm not suggesting for a minute we should, a defence that let in 63 goals shouldn't be dismantled and new players brought in. But at least I think with the front foot approach that we're going to have, that the defence will get some respite from the constant pressure that was invited from the hapless coaches we've had for the last 3 or 4 years. Hang on, I need to go for a minute.
Right. I think that's very true, because what do they say? The best form of defence is attack. So, or is it the best?
I don't know. I think the reason that those managers played like that is because they didn't want to leave Dyer and Sanchez exposed one-on-one defending, which is they're going to have more of that to do under a Cogley's system. Okay, it could be even, we could concede even more because they haven't got that level of protection in front of them. With Conte and Mourinho, they had 2 defensive midfielders protecting them a little bit. They're not going to have that anymore, and they're not going to have 3 centre backs. They're only going to have 2. It's disastrous. We need new centre backs, basically.
Well, that's the thing.
Cut a long story short,
if Cogley plays that way, it'll be very obvious very early on that they're not up to the mark. So it'll just boot them out. He's well known for that. I think the main thing is with all fans, not just us, but with every single fan, we need to be patient. Wherever he's gone, he's even where he's won stuff at other clubs around the world, he's taken some time to do it. And even with the team in Brisbane Roar, he didn't win anything with them, but they love him to death. Because he developed the team over time and he got them playing in a way after about year and a half, that kind of 13-month kind of thing, where they absolutely loved watching their team, and that's what we want. That's why we're all optimistic. But the key thing is being patient and not calling for his head after 3 games or something stupid. Yeah,
but Simon, to be honest, if I wanted to have patience, I would have been a doctor.
Oh my God! That's a Sunday joke,
no, but that is no. I'm joking. I'm joking, obviously, but that there will be fans who will be calling for his head after 3 games if we haven't scored 5 goals a game and haven't won all 3 of those games. It's, as you say, it is needed. I think that everything. I'm going to sound like a real old fart here, but everything these days, it just has to be instant.
Yeah. Nobody
gives anyone a chance anymore. If someone has a bad first game, it's like, oh, shit, get rid of him. What? Yeah. Okay, I've got more impatient as I've got older, but I will still give players a season and a half when they come in. And then after that, okay. If they haven't performed, then fuck off. Sorry.
But, say that because I'm going back to like the late 60s or early 70s when, all the great and the good used to meet. I can't remember what that little lane was called, where between the pub and the ticket office. And, I would say like, I was a little boy, we've signed Martin Chivers, and it would be, but he'll take a year to settle in, son, There was always that, a player would automatically be expected. He would take a year to settle in rather than expect, Liverpool. Remember, Liverpool used to sign players and put them in reserves for 2 years. That was the Liverpool modus operandi. You didn't buy a player and put him in the first team. Put a young player, put him in the reserves for 2 years, and then brought him into the first team when he was ready. Now you want everyone wants instant gratification. It's it's a reflection of modern life, I suspect, as much as modern football.
Yeah, that's true.
At least with Maddison, he's got the Premier League experience, and he said he'd hope he'd slot in quite fairly fairly quickly.
Do you think the Vicario will start as number one, or do you think Forster will keep it?
Vicaria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I just say, I think it might help not having any European football because there'll be more chance to work on training instead of dashing off to tractor land and places like that. You know,
that's the title challenge then.
Yeah, so that's my hope. More work on the training ground and whatever, team spirit and everything else, whatever.
Yeah,
I just want the FA Cup. That's what I want is the FA Cup.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Let's have a bit of fun to close it, Jens. From my comment earlier about the captain, who would you name captain? Presuming Lloris is gone and Kane, because of the uncertainty, isn't captain, who would you name captain out of the squad of the remaining personnel at the moment? Who would your captain be? For just a bit of fun.
Yeah, this might be a little bit controversial because I know a lot of people want him to go. And I've also said that I didn't like him an awful lot at certain points. But if he stays, Ben Davies.
Don't see him as being a starting player.
Yeah.
Club captain, but not,
I think the only player that if Kane goes, it has to be Son, I would have thought. No, none of you have mentioned him.
Yeah. I think Son's too nice to be a captain. I can't see Son. Well, yeah, I suppose he does shout at people.
I don't think we want to give him the pressure of being a captain. You know, you look how he dealt with the pressure of not performing that well last season, and it really got to him. You could tell it really.
He's a bit too emotional to be a captain.
Yeah, it's not quite there. I'd say I would have thought Højbjerg, but if he's not hanging around, then
is Son South Korea captain? I think he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's got the weight and the expectation of that nation behind him, so I think he can handle pressure on that level. If he's got South Korea to keep happy, I think Tottenham would be a breeze, wouldn't it, compared to that?
What this actually highlights, though, is I think something. I mean, I've certainly said it on streams before. Is a lack of leadership on the field, and certainly when things aren't going as well as they might. What I don't see is a lot of players, clapping their hands and encouraging others. I just see a lot of players looking around at other people, including Kane, with their heads down, looking to take the kickoff again. Even in Sunday League football, we used to at least, clap our hands, roll our sleeves up, and say, "Come on, let's get this goal back," or whatever.
Yeah. No, Son is. I've just checked. He is South Korean captain. So yeah, that's a good shout. Kev, what do you reckon?
I think it's got to be an English-speaking captain, to be honest, and that sounds a bit racist, but I think the communication factor with the refs, I think could be difficult if you've got a Spanish captain or.
Yeah, Son's English is pretty good though, isn't it? It's quite understandable.
Probably as good as Hugo, isn't it? I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So Emerson Royale it is then.
Should be hand signals.
There's not a lot of candidates, is there? Apart from Son.
Yeah.
No,
he's not an ideal, is he? He's not ideal.
I think it's an overrated thing being captain. I mean, you look at Højbjerg was doing all the clapping hands and stuff like that, and trying to get people going, waving his arms around and stuff last season. He wasn't captain. So I think it's an overrated position. I think it's only key that it has to be someone level-headed, because these days the referee will only talk to the captain and the player involved. So it has to be someone who's not as hot-headed as Højbjerg, maybe. But so yeah, Son would be the ideal one, just because he's, I don't know, really mature enough. I don't know. You see what Kane does when he has to talk to the referee, and he pushes our players away from the referee and all that kind of stuff. That's what we need.
As Steve Perryman says, you don't need an armband to be a captain.
Yeah.
You should have 11 captains, shouldn't you? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody should be talking. Everybody should be shouting. Everybody should be encouraging each other.
Sure. And I don't see. I mean, we all, I suppose, hope that Kane signs a longer contract and stays, but I don't see him as being a great leader on the field.
He leads by example.
He leads by example. That's true. Yeah.
You'd have thought he'll get offered it though, hey, if he does stay.
Yeah.
God, yeah.
I think it'll be part of the package. I mean, if 100,000, 4-year contract, 5-year contract, club captaincy, and a job when you finish. It's not an unattractive offer, but it will win nothing if he stays. But if he goes, we will definitely win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
But saying that, if he does go, who's going to replace him? Who do you think will sign, or do you think
Has to be a couple of people, doesn't it? Really?
I don't think that Scarlett's going to step up. I don't think Parrott is going to step up.
No.
Be interesting to see how Rishi does. I mean, we talk about giving players a year, but the other thing is Son. Little player, low centre of gravity, good in the box, good in the box. He could actually, if you look at the player that's playing for Celtic at the moment, Kyogo, if anyone's seen anything of him, he's not what you would call an orthodox centre forward. He's more Gary Lineker than Harry Kane. So Son could play the role, the ball coming, into the box at feet. Just a thought, yeah.
I'm still not convinced by Richarlison, but as I say, I always give a player a season and a half.
Yeah,
I think it's a big season for him next year.
Massive.
Yeah. So
he's another one like Skip. I think has to shape up or will have to ship out of the club.
That was too much money to spend on him, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
As a backup.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's been to see a specialist in the close season to find out if there's anything he can do to stop himself getting all these niggling injuries and stuff. So he's been working hard in post-season, apparently. Get fitter and stronger.
I think I saw a
Score
tweet.
goals once. Get it on target for once. That'll help.
Well, that's
it's not right, is it? When someone looks a world beater for Brazil and a reserve player for Tottenham, something's not right there.
Yeah. Could be the management. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know if his head's right. Maybe he prefers Scouse food to London food. Who knows?
Yeah.
Fried rat.
Okay, guys. Anything else? Because otherwise, I'm going to wrap up.
No, I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah. Me too.
Can't think of anything.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Anyone want to plug anything?
No.
The massive gap in the middle of our defence. Apart from that, no.
Good call, John. Good call.
Okay then, chaps. Don't know if you want to hang around for a chat afterwards, but I'm going to close it down now. So thank you very much. Come on, you Spurs. And Mr. Levy, please sort yourself out.
Peace out. Yeah.
Come on, you Spurs.
Sign a fucking centre back.
Yeah.